Hey gang, Reagan the Devil, better late than never. Nah, life got in the bloody way today. But I'm still making my Thursday promise, making you a late video, but still here on Thursday. And, well, let's go back to the tradition of being a little bit heavy, sort of like me, on a Thursday. The end of my weekend starts. So, you get to hang out with me in the evening. It's spooky dark now. That's why I'm sitting further back. But if you're wondering who the hell I am, I'm Raven the Devil, and this is my channel. Former DJ, former idiot, former comedian, and ex-roadie. And among other things, disabled. And we're going to talk about that tonight. So if you like what I'm doing here on the channel, do the thing, you know, the thing. And we'll talk about more of that at the end, but well, I might as well get started because there's only about an hour left to my day before it's tomorrow. So, welcome back to the channel. If you're first time here, thanks for joining me. And here we go, talking about things that have happened to me and what I've learned from them since. All right, then, where was I? What was I saying? I got to do the voice. Sorry. It gets laughs at work. Anyhow, so, on many of my videos now, I've referenced my cane, the walker, the accident. Dun, dun, dun. I'm telling it. We're going to talk about April 22nd, 1998, the day that changed my life forever, and then the idiot that was born as a result of it. And I'm not talking about my kid. She's probably going to hate me for that. But anyways, now in 1998, I was not working with any bands at the time. I'd done some in the summer before, but I'd gone through a bad breakup in 94, and 94, 95, 96, 97 were the beginning of my blurry phase. I remember about a week, give or take, honestly, and the rest is based off of what other people have told me. So I don't talk about 94 to 97 much. There's some embarrassing stories I'm sure I'll tell at some point. I promise you that I got enough of them. But at the time, I was working with a buddy of mine named Scott, and we had moved out to Blackstone, Virginia for this gig. And it turned out later, the house we were renting for a completely crazy price turned out to be a house that had burned down from the inside, been just fixed up, rewired, and plyboard thrown down and was condemned. But somehow this guy thought he could rent it to us, and we did auto glass. Well, Scotty did. I did sales for Scotty. If you see me in my day-to-day, you know I'm a talking head. Even when I did radio, I was a talking head. And sales is what I was good at. I can sell ice to an Eskimo. And so there we were coming home from work. Now, Scotty and I were no angels. I'm going to leave some details out because they're not really the core of the detail because they had nothing to do with what happened. But let's just say Scotty and I had a liquid lunch. I drank, Scotty was driving, and this, remember I told you in the first video, in 1987 when I hit and killed that guy with my car, I started down a path of alcoholism. And at this point, I was not one of these guys that woke up every day needing a beer. But if you handed me one, I'd drink them all. And this was one of those days. We stopped for lunch. Now, I have a gastric bypass, and I'm going to talk about this. I got it in 88. And so I lived mostly on liquids. I still do. And beer was in my brain. Hey, it's bread, but it's liquid. I can drink it and be fine. I'll eat a Slim Jim and drink this beer. I'll be great. Hard to believe at that time I kept a normal figure. This was before if you threw an apple at me, it would orbit me, and I have a USDA stamp on my left butt cheek. But anyways, on this day, we were coming home in his little Dodge Ram 50 pickup. We had windshields in the back of the car. Now, we lived in Blackstone, Virginia. And if you know where Blackstone is, you probably were stationed at Fort Pickett. If you don't, look for Petersburg, look west, and look for a spot where there should be a town, but there's nothing. And that's probably Blackstone. It's just up from South Hill. And honestly, the only people going out there are going to Virginia Tech. And so we drive down this Route 460. And it's 4:30 in the afternoon. It's a light drizzle. It's Virginia. It's April. And we drive past this cutoff from Chesterfield, Virginia, this road that merges with 460. And there was a Camaro. I remember seeing it because it was a new one. I mentioned it to Scotty who was driving. And we had our clipboard on the dashboard. This will be important in a minute. And we just drove past them. It was 45. It was raining. We weren't going that fast. We had work for tomorrow in the back of the truck. And suddenly the Camaro comes up alongside us, side by side. Sorry if I can't look directly at y'all for this. I don't like remembering this story because my wife will tell you I scream in my sleep. I thrash about in my sleep. And if I dream, I see this accident. Still do. I have PTSD because of this incident. I've had it for 25 years. I've learned to handle it. But it didn't help with the alcoholism before and after either. But neither here nor there. So they pull alongside us. And they do the old dick move. Sorry, language. They pull in front of us, slam on the brakes. When they do this, the clipboard comes off the dash. Goes under the brake and the foot of the driver. And we get around them. I'm starting to shake a little. I don't like remembering this. Yeah, even scary guys can tremble sometimes. And Scotty needed to hit the brakes because kids came up again and they were going to do it again. I popped off my seatbelt and I reached down. Get the clipboard and sit up, and I feel the impact. The kid tried to come up along us. I'm going to use my hands. This is us. He comes up, and he goes to cut us, and he cuts too soon. And he hits our front left quarter panel alongside the tire and pushes us off the road. I'm shaking now because this is the part I remember with crystal clarity. Now, in Virginia on Route 460 are rain runoff ditches. And we were about a mile or half a mile outside of Blackstone. Now, if you happen to be someone who lives in Blackstone, those storage units with the White House on the hill across from it, that big high dug up hill that goes about up 100 feet, we were going 45 miles an hour. This Camaro was going faster and hit us. Little Dodge Ram 50 pickup. I have no seatbelt on. The driver has his. I'm holding a clipboard. We go down that runoff ditch and go right up that scoped hill up to that White House. Now it's 100 feet at about a 50, 60 degree angle. You ever seen Dukes of Hazzard? I don't mean to laugh, but I have dark humor. And we flew through the air, but we didn't land like a stunt car. It came down on my side. It hit on the nose of the right side of the truck, and we spun into the air twice. Straight up into the air. We traveled 150 feet, they said. And it hit the ground and rolled. I hit the dashboard 8 times on my head, shoulders, face, neck. And then I came to rest with my spine bent around the steering wheel. The driver's head was under the car outside the driver's window. My head at the time, right here, I'll lean in. See the lovely beauty mark right there? That was actually flipped down over my eyebrows. You could see my skull, they said. They wouldn't let me see it. I wanted to see it. I'm weird. Okay. Goose Flava. I feel pretty, oh so pretty. Sorry, I love that movie. Anyways, when I came to, I was wiping blood out of my eyes, and I couldn't wonder what I was seeing. I looked down, and I see my buddy Scotty, and I think he's dead because I see his head under the roof of the truck out the window, and I see dirt. I carried a knife on my side because we did auto glass. We did what I call boyfriend glass. Boyfriend glass was from Petersburg, Virginia, and it generally was a gentleman whose girlfriend found out he had a side chick and put a baseball bat in it. We did a lot of used glass, and we did cash. So I always carried a weapon because we'd have $3,000, $4,000 some days. And so I climb out the vehicle, and I'm pulling my knife because I thought they'd kill my friend. And there's the Camaro backwards in a ditch. The two kids saw me get out, so they started going, oh, shit. And they run away. Oh, language. Sorry. I think I passed the minute, right? And so there we were. In the field, I'm trying to stab these kids. They're running for the car. And then I lose consciousness. I remember spinning around, hit the ground, and I don't remember anything else for a while. Now, at this point, I should say, because whenever I tell the story, I mention it at about this point. The very day before, my girlfriend told me she was pregnant. And there's a couple of things I haven't said yet. When we came down on the nose that first time, my last thought was, oh my God, I'm not going to see my kid be born. And this is what I see every night in my sleep, is I see the dirt go over the windshield. And my brain was like, oh, this must be what it feels like to be buried alive. And I have a bit of claustrophobia in small vehicles and small spaces now as a result of it. You see, I'm very twitchy tonight because I'm telling this story. This is why I didn't want to tell it right away. Even big guys get weak moments. And so when I came to, the ironies started. Now, this is natural comedy. I am not making any of this up. I came to, and I look up, and I'm looking up between a woman's legs, straight up her. She's kneeling with her knees on either side of me, and she's holding a diaper on my head, and she's praying. Turns out she's a minister's wife nearby. She saw the accident along with a bunch of other cars coming home from work, and everybody stopped the kid from getting away, and were helping me. And that's when the EMTs arrived. And a good storyteller knows when to tell the levity in a story. And this happened completely naturally. I had nothing to say. Now, you're looking at me, right? I got hair. There's a reason I like having long hair. I don't have a neck. I don't even have corpse grinder neck. I have no neck. I learned it this day, actually, laying in the mud with a diaper pressed to my forehead, which stayed on my head till I got to the hospital. Rather fitting, don't you think? That same hospital later, I would go for birthing classes. And so the EMTs arrive, and there's a bunch of firefighters, cops, and EMTs. And the first EMT walks up to me, and he does the thing with the light in my eyes. He looks at me. He turns to his friend, and he goes, all right, man, we're going to need a no-neck brace over here. And in my weak voice at the time, because I didn't know what the hell was going on, I said, if I don't have a neck, why do I need a brace? I didn't want to be strapped to a bloody papoose. When I was 5, 6 years old, my mom's best friend's neighbor's kid hit me in the head back here with a hammer. So I don't want to have shaved head. If I shave my head, I look like Jason Voorhees. And I got hit in the head 44 stitches when I was a little kid, right here. And then I hit the back of the station wagon and I got them out, and I split it a second time. So I got this really gnarly scar on my head. It's not. That's probably why I'm not right in the head. I got hit in the head with a hammer and I survived. And I know what it's like to be strapped to a bloody papoose board. I didn't want to be strapped to that sucker because they always leave you on it for too bloody long. And I was in pain already. I was starting to hurt in places I never hurt before. No such luck. I got papoosed. I got the no neck put on. And then they got 6 guys to pick me up and put me in the ambulance. And that was when they proceeded to drop me on my face. Yep. Boom. Oh. Excrement. Oh, man, we're so sorry. We're so sorry. And they cleaned me up. They were worried about my forehead getting dirty, so they pulled the diaper off, cleaned it, and left it open. Oh, there's another part of this story. This gets better. But, so anyways, I was in Blackstone. They took us to Farmville. I told them, take me to the closest hospital because it was either Petersburg, Richmond, or Farmville. And the other two were over an hour away. Farmville was 45 minutes away. That's how far out of the middle of nowhere I was. And when I get to Farmville, My partner was in the other car. Now, he was freaking out because he enjoyed illicit substances stronger than herbal ones, and some might have been in the car and the truck, and I didn't know it. And because I wouldn't have been riding in a vehicle with a driver with that stuff, just because I'd already done the I was in handcuffs thing, gone to jail thing, and I'm allergic to handcuffs. I really don't like jail cells, so, and especially after this accident, small spaces really trip me out. So I try to stay away from the things that send you away right away. And he was raising a stink all the way to the hospital. Now, at the time, my hair was short, and Scott and I resemble each other a little bit. And I was clean shaven too. He was raising a stink, and this actually came up in court months later at his DUI, and then later on at my disability attempts. They confused me and Scott in the hospital records. So my records at the time, I was strapped to a board for 12 hours. I was being listed as the complainant, the loud one, and it was him. And that reflected badly on my treatment when they got the records right. Because I laid on that papoose board for 11 and a half hours in the hospital before I saw a doctor. So my forehead was open. They finally put a gauze over it. They wouldn't even give me aspirin until I saw the doctor. 5 o'clock the following morning. This happened at 4:30 the day before. I see a doctor. He comes in, gets me off the board, which I was grateful for, took the brace off my neck, and then proceeded to put 24 stitches in my head with nothing to kill the pain. I learned new swear words that day, and they had to hold me down a little bit. After that, I ushered up in the room, the standard after stuff. I have to tell this whole thing because it resulted in 7 more years of hell for me, too. Because the kid that hit us was 17 going on 18. At the scene, the cops told us he blew a .17. In court, he said he blew a .14, just 1 point below what is at the time would have been a criminal offense, sent him to jail. And I would have an automatic victory on my multi-million-dollar lawsuit my lawyers wanted. Now, I lost my first lawyer. Nobody would take the case for 6 months because of what they found in Scott's car. Again, neither here nor there. They couldn't prove it was anybody's, but still, it didn't look good on us. And then the kid went in the Marine Corps. In the United States of America, if you are deployed in the military at a time of peace or war, no soldier is required to attend or reply a civil complaint. Meaning, it was a waiting game. And they told me it could take as long as 20 to 30 years to see my money for my injuries. This would probably have to be a multiple episode, honestly, because there's so much that happens here. But I want to talk about at least this part now. Because I had never felt the pain like I was feeling the day I woke up after the accident. I went home. And at this point, I used to walk everywhere. I didn't have a car. I walked everywhere. 10 miles was nothing to me. You know, I could lift a refrigerator by myself. I went to a party once at an after party for a band, and the keg tap broke, so I just picked it up, carried it around on my shoulder. I was a strong kid. I still am to a degree, but not like I was. That's why my body's falling apart now. I didn't do it right. And I was defeated. I couldn't walk. I couldn't get up. It started a 5-year process of sitting in a chair. I went from 220 pounds to 720 in 5 years. My daughter was born. I was 300 pounds. I have a picture in a shirt I'll show you guys sometime. The shirt goes out almost as long as me twice now. I have a picture of me holding my daughter where that thing is skin tight on me. And I died inside a lot after this accident. But since I'm already hitting the 20-minute mark here, I don't want to go on all night. But I like to end these things on an up note because this really changed me. I couldn't walk anymore. My lower back, I lost the feeling in my feet. I couldn't turn my head like I used to. I started forgetting things. Small cars and loud noises would make me really uncomfortable. And about a year after that, now mind you, this is the point when the alcoholism got the worst. I just couldn't get up without drinking and being on something. I went from being a functional, working human being to needing someone to help me get to the bathroom in one day. Add the pressure of knowing I was going to be a father. Add the pressure that I grew up in a very traditional old world family. My grandfather was Catholic. My father was raised Catholic. My mother was Episcopalian. I believed family, honor, all that stuff. You know, I believed, and I still do, if I make it, I'm man enough to raise it. I say it because I don't assume till I see it what it is. And that first year after my daughter was born especially was insanely difficult. So, I got to turn for a second. I want to read something to y'all.
This
Hold
video
on,
is kindly...
shiza. Oopsie, I was watching something earlier. Ignore that. All right, here we go. This here was in the front of a book I was reading in the crapper. Jabba, sit next to Salacious. Use him for toilet paper later. Anyways, so I was in the bathroom, and I was at a really low point. This was 2 years before I thought about trying internet radio. My daughter was about a year old. My girlfriend was going to school and working full time because I couldn't do anything, so we figured she'd go to school first, and then once she was working, I would follow in her footsteps. My daughter would be old enough to be in school. Didn't work out that way, but I found this. It took me a long time, a very long time, and we'll get to when I finally realized the answer to this. But I want to give you this because I've given this to a lot of people in my travels, from being locked up, an innocent man in jail. Yeah, they all say that in jail, I know, but no, really, I was acquitted. To just people walking in the shop. I had to think for a minute because I've mellowed out, and Raven's finally got a hold of himself again instead of letting Dave run away. But this is called Credo. It was written by Jack London, you know, Call of the Wild Jack London. 3 lines, and then we'll get out of here tonight. I would rather be ashes than dust. I would rather that my spark should burn out in a brilliant blaze than it should be stifled by dry rot. I would rather be a superb meteor, every atom of me in magnificent glow, than a sleepy and permanent planet. The function of man is to live, not to exist. I shall not waste my time trying to prolong them. I shall use my time. My days to prolong them. Sorry. It's late. That last line. I shall not waste my days trying to prolong them. I shall use my time. Rings so solid with me. Our day of exit is never guaranteed, and we didn't ask to be here. I've always made a joke that life is a sexually transmitted disease that always ends in death. We all check out. This ain't Hotel California. You will eventually leave. But the function of man is to live, not to exist. It took me forever, till recently, not long before I got married, to fully understand what living was. We've become so disconnected from one another, I feel, that I leave these messages behind not for some sense of grandiosity. This is simply because maybe it'll help somebody someday. It helped me. I'm still here. I'm still as broken as I ever was. I still hurt really badly, even right now. And it's been a long day for me. But, you know, I had to make a video, I promised, Tuesday, Thursdays, and Saturdays. But that right there, Credo, it is. He wrote that near his death. near the end of his life. It's a really fascinating story. You should read it sometime. Reading's a great thing. I'm not trying to get into that reading rainbow crap, but it's been a long day. It's almost midnight Eastern here on the American coastline. And yeah, the universe tried to take me out that day, and I'm still here, salty and irascible as I ever was. Some people say that's a good thing. Some people don't. But you know what? I'm not mad at that kid that hit me anymore. That I said for a long time I ever had the chance. It's kind of fun just to bump into him and say hi to him. And then just walk away. But thanks, everybody. This one was kind of a heavy one. I can't really keep it funny or emotional. This one is a really hard one for me to still talk about to this day. And I talk about this all the time. But I've never made it honest this much or tried to make it without bravado. It's a really interesting thing when the universe changes who you are. You know, I recently stopped dreaming painless. I've started recently having dreams only in pain. But you know, the day I stopped saying ow, the day I stopped waking up, well, is the day I stopped waking up. You know, the day I don't hurt when I get up is the day I've gone to the next stage in existence, whatever that may be. Heaven, hell, up, down, left, right, sideways. I still got a chance to do something better with this life. Don't know about y'all. I'm tired of sitting on this fat ass. You want to come with me? And thanks if you're here at the end of this for sticking around. I'm still figuring out how to do these things. Life today just kept me from it. I went to go film this at another location. And everything I brought with me, including the tripod, broke. So I had to wait till I got home at almost 10 o'clock at night. So do the thing, you know, like, share, subscribe. This time I didn't say it at the front. If you like what I'm doing, I got a couple more shorts I'm working on. I got some more stuff coming up before Saturday. So thanks everybody who's been checking out. Again, almost 1,300 now on that video. I know it ain't much in the metrics, but to me, thanks everybody. Thanks for checking it out, and I'll be back in just a little while.